Okay, this is the next episode of All Apologies, Guilt and Blame, episode 29. This is kind of a follow-up to what I was trying to update you on in episode 28. So please bear with me. I really did care a lot for Phil, but he took whatever was left of me after my life up until I met him, and then destroyed the rest of my heart. If you could imagine a heart that had been through so much, that was broken in so many different ways, he definitely ended up shattering the rest of it. There's good memories, there are, but there's a lot of bad ones. And he's remarried, but it's definitely not like Kyle and his new wife. I never thought I would really have bitterness in my heart. And for the most part, I look at it as something that can never be forgiven. When it comes to Walker being an abuser and being an addict and being someone that carries around demons that ended up killing him, Phil took so much from me. And looking back, nobody would understand unless you've listened to my first podcast, or unless you've understood my pain. There's a lot of people that would say I can't really blame him. And I will be honest and say I don't totally blame him. But I blame my mindset after what he did to me, after what he did to our marriage, as the reason for me making the worst decision of my life. I regret so much. I think that's my burden to bear. But I will never, ever really be able to not carry some kind of disdain for Phil and even for his wife. They know what they did. They know the truth. And they, I'm sure, would lie about it. And they have. But that's for them to bear. Phil knows. And his wife knows. What destruction they brought to me, to my kids, to my life. And am I partially to blame? But he could have been a better man. And it's nothing that he can do ever. Even if he thinks he's a better man now, there's nothing that he can ever do to free me from the pain that I dealt with, that he had a hand in. Anyway, I don't know why I needed to get that out. Well, actually, maybe I do. So no matter how much I've been through in my life, I am now a lot older. And I've been through a lot. An awful lot. I am going to be 64 in like 30 days. It's probably actually a little bit more than 30. And I now am married again. And I guess it got me to thinking about all the pitfalls in my life. All the ups and downs and twists and turns and paths that I took that I shouldn't have. Bobby is a good person. He has a lot of issues. And he's a few years older than me. 4 years older than me, exactly. And I can honestly say this time around, it's not something I had to do. It's something that I felt a responsibility, a history. I met Bobby a few years ago before the pandemic, and I wasn't looking for a husband by no means. Actually, I thought that I would probably never marry again after everything I've been through in my entire life. Why would I? But I did tell Bobby that I wanted to be with someone. I wanted to have a life with someone and share my life and share their life and not be alone. I don't know many people that want to be alone. I told Bobby that I didn't want to be someone that died alone. I have children and grandchildren, and I've had a lot of men in my life, but I told Bobby I wasn't really out there looking. I just wanted to find someone that wanted the same things out of life that I did. Like not being alone, like having someone that they could share their life with, like having someone that would learn how they took their coffee. Just different things like that. I told him when I met him that I had wrote a book and did videos and podcasts, and that I was a firm believer, I would say, to the fact that it's hard living by yourself. It's hard having things happen in your life and not having anyone. And that I had given up pretty much on happiness. That I had learned basically through all these years that you really just have to find the happiness with yourself. And I had pretty much decided that I would settle for peace. That I had been through a lot, and I have a lot of guilt that I carry. Henceforth, this podcast called All Apologies. I've learned that you make the mistakes you do in life, and sometimes you carry that for the rest of it. And sometimes you carry that pain for the rest of your life. But that I had tried to make peace with my past. But that I didn't want to be alone. And when I first met Bobby and we would talk, especially during the pandemic, he convinced me that he was the same type person and that he wanted the same as me, just to have someone in his life, to share his life with him. And I've talked about it in my podcast that I did about his life called Telling. And I learned Bobby, the Bobby that I met, Bobby that I felt that I had found, was actually not the Bobby that I got. I don't have any regrets. I told the truth to Bobby. And I was the same person that I am now when we met. I think I've pretty much been the same person for my entire life, but I've mellowed, believe it or not. At least I can say I think I've mellowed. I've definitely learned a lot from my past. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here for now. Please keep listening. I think for me, it's just important to give updates on what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, what my mindset is after everything that I've been through. I just want to make sure that I stay on top of everything and let people know if I'm okay. There's a lot of times I don't feel like I'm okay, but I'm hanging in there. And I think that's what's important. You just gotta hang in and keep putting one foot in front of the other. So please keep listening, and I'll be back.